Elon Musk company SpaceX, his satellite service provider Starlink will be requesting exemptions from the sanctions placed against Iran by the U.S. government, which, for those of you who don't know, tensions between the United States and Iran are pretty high, and the United States, over the past several years, we saw the U.S. and Iran nuclear deal, in which the U.S. and a ton of other countries in Europe and across the globe have imposed sanctions against Iran. And due to recent protests and backlash to what's going on in Iran, just with internal conflict, their service and ultimately freedom of speech throughout the internet has been tarnished and is being destroyed right now. And Elon Musk, Starlink, the service provider through SpaceX, actually is trying to find that this could be a valuable solution for the citizens of that country. And it's going to be ultimately to kind of like see what's able to be done there, if Elon can intervene between the U.S. government and Iran, and what ultimately can happen there.
Yeah, this is a primal case of how the public sector is now crossing over into the area of innovation, where it becomes a barrier for innovation. Considering that, Elon, if you look at Elon Musk's track record, he really does not care about the political standpoint of the United States. He just doesn't. It's not even just because he's not originally from the U.S. Obviously, he's from South Africa, but that has nothing to do with it. It literally is because he looks at things at a very world, long-term view for the entire state of humankind. He doesn't really care about, the political forces of the U.S. or the political interests of the U.S. other than maybe wanting to put out electric cars in the U.S., help our GDP. But the thing with this situation is you clearly see now that because the U.S. has sanctions against Iran, that now Elon's innovation and the things that he's trying to do is now affected by it. Definitely, I think that, if you have a global innovation plan like this, then sometimes things just rise above, political affairs between two countries, especially when what he's trying to do isn't really that harmful. But obviously the U.S. government might look at it as a way to weaken Iran if they can.
I really hope the U.S. does decide to lift these sanctions for this internet, because I think that the people of Iran, it doesn't matter where you're at, should have access to internet to be able to, provide free speech. Because right now they literally can't do that. They don't have the ability to go ahead and provide and share their discontent with what's going on over there, because their internet is either so poor or it's just getting moderated so heavily to where the people can barely communicate with each other and people outside of the country.
Currently, right now, the program that Elon Musk is offering through SpaceX is available on all 7 continents, and it seems like there's only about 400,000 users, but it's projected to grow crazy, and it's going to see, we saw what Elon Musk did with Tesla, now with SpaceX, what he's able to do with this branch with as an internet provider. Elon Musk is one of the world's biggest innovators of all time, what this is going to, do and change.
Well, you saw that, obviously, and I think it's still going on, the conflict between Ukraine and Russia. Starlink was providing internet to Ukraine, pretty much, in areas throughout the war that they didn't have any access to internet due to the bombings or whatever it may be. But basically Elon, he tweeted out that said, hey, Starlink is available in Ukraine. And that's how this, the citizens there, but then also maybe, some of the people actually fighting the war have access to internet there because of Starlink. And so I think that's something that, if the U.S. was really trying to help Ukraine in the war against Russia, then obviously they could see the good that Starlink did there. Maybe that they'll see that hey, what they're protesting over in Iran really has nothing to do with our geopolitical battle with them. It really is just if he allows them to get Starlink, then it really is just a betterment for humankind and not really going to affect anything with their sanctions.